Good second night of the draft for us. After not obviously being involved the first night to come back night two, and we had a couple players we were targeting from the get-go, and traded back, and we're fortunate enough to get them. So we're excited. Two guys, and Alex Toohey and Will Richard, bringing in, and we think they fit our culture, they fit our program, they fit how we want to play, and we're excited about it.
When did you get the sense that you wanted to move out of 41 and maybe add another
year? To be honest, probably a week or so ago, just looking at the board and seeing where things are at and how we value the players. It's just one of those drafts. I think with the NIL stuff, we felt like it was a little weak in the middle where we were drafting, and so we could get some pretty good value by moving back. And stuff's hard to do ahead of time. You kind of have to wait till today or on the clock, and we were able to get something done before the draft, and we felt good about the players being there. And got a little hairy, but we moved around a little bit and got back up to where we needed to get back up to, and got Will. And I think it was from our standpoint, the way we started the day and the way we finished is we're very pleased.
Mike, would the idea, right now, be to roster or have a chance to roster both, or one and one? How would you?
Yeah, I think it's going to be dependent on free agency. Obviously, we have the option to do both. And that'll depend how free agency plays out and how we use our money and all that. But we think both of them are highly, very deserving of roster spots. These guys, are good players and, have a chance, and we'll put them in the development program. And it could be some time in Santa Cruz, it could be some NBA minutes. We'll see how it unfolds. But, we're pretty optimistic about these guys being good players.
Yeah, I was going to ask what you're going to do with them. I mean, how valuable is potentially having two very cheap, second-round contracts?
Yeah, I mean, with our salary structure, that type of stuff is important. That's come through with guys like Guy Santos and Trace and Quentin. So getting more of these players matters, probably a little bit more for us than other teams. And doesn't mean they can definitely play, but just to have that optionality is good.
Are you of the belief that, you kind of said it a little bit there, but let's say they had to get in a rotation, at some point next year. You feel like you've got two guys that are relatively ready?
It's hard. I'm willing to be wrong on this. Last few years I've said it. I don't expect these guys to have much of an impact as rookies. It's hard to do that. Will's older, played on a national championship team. And so maybe he's got a little bit of a shot. Alex has played against pros in Australia. So, sure, maybe these guys have a chance, but don't want to bank on it. I think our roster will be good and deep anyway, but, we don't think these guys are, years away, put it like that.
You look at positionally, I know it's still early, but Toohey like a four, or is he a big three?
Yeah, I think he's like a forward. And I think with our system and the way we play, he has the versatility to play multiple positions. It's who can you guard and where you can play offensively. And we think, especially on the defensive end, he's super versatile and, creates a lot of plays, which is important for our defense. It's for us defensively with Draymond and Jimmy and Pods and guys that can kind of disrupt. This guy fits in that mold. And so, I think he's a front court player.
Richard, two?
Yeah, I'd say a wing. Will's can shoot the ball. I think we see him as a two-way player. Shoot it, defend it. I think he's good, pretty good on-ball defender, very good off-ball defender, and he's got good length. And he's coming from a really good program and system where, well coached, well taught, and many years in college. So this is a guy that knows how to play.
Clearly, you had some fear he might, go before 59. How important was it for you to kind of jump up and get him particularly?
Yeah, we had both these guys really high on our board, so we wanted to get both of them with what we did by moving back. And, look, we had a contingency plan if he went. If either one of them went, we had other ways to go, but this is our much preferred route, and we were able to do it and had to pivot there a little bit, but, I think it was worth it.
Did both these guys come in for pre-draft workouts? I don't think they're on any of the lists.
Yeah, they did. They were both in. Alex was in a little bit further back, maybe a month or so ago, and Will was in this month more recently. And so got to spend time with both guys. They're on the court working out against other players in the film room, those types of things. So, did all the intel and research on them, talking, to their coaches and people that knew them. So we feel pretty good about who they are as players as well as people. And, it's good. I think you feel better about a pick when you've had the guy in the building, spent some time with him. It's kind of like a job interview, knowing who you're bringing aboard. So we feel good about that.
So when you trade down, was Toohey the kind of guy you're looking at to get him at 52 when you move down 41?
I think it was the thought moving back was both of them. However, which way it would happen. Whether one was at 52, one was at 59, vice versa. Yeah, we had to move back up from 59 to 56 to get it, but we value both of them, and the thought behind getting 2 picks in this draft later on was to get both players.
Mike, what's the intel gathering process like for a guy like Toohey who, spent 2 years in the Australian National League over there?
Yeah, well, we got guys that we get eyes on them, go down there. Long trip, but fun one. And for those of us that travel, I didn't get down there this year, but our scouts do. And we check these guys out. We evaluate them in person in games, as well as do the background research on them and want to get a feel for who they are, where they come from, family stuff, all that. So, yeah, it's a little bit longer of a trip to figure that out, but we make it happen. Actually, good question. No, I actually haven't talked to him specifically, but I know some people in our group have, and I know he's a big fan.
You guys added Taron Armstrong out of Australia on a two-way last year. Where have you seen the NBL Australia really rise in the basketball ranks internationally recently?
Yeah, it's a good league. I mean, you go down there. Obviously, you've seen guys like ball. High picks go out of there. It's a mature league. You get physical adult play in that league. So you feel like if a young player can play in that league, a lot of things are going to translate to the NBA. And I feel like that league's getting more and more reputable and better, and it's a good place to pull players from.
Well, what can you maybe say about Alex's feel for the game? It seems like that's what everyone's talking about, that he just knows how to play a high IQ basketball.
Yeah, I mean, I think he's just a really coachable player. Knows, like you said, knows how to play on both ends. You see that in his block and steal numbers, and then offensively, you see it the way he moves, he cuts. He's really good in transition. Just does a lot of things, and we tend to feel like players that can do a lot of things in this league on both ends of the ball end up being successful and making it.
It's Sunday's coming up quick. Do you feel like there's been any traction in the Kuminga situation?
Yeah, I mean, we're working through it. We've got some players that are a bunch of free agents, qualifying offers, and all those things that come about. We got to figure that out. But that's kind of the next order of business here. After the draft, we turn to free agency and some of that team building stuff. So it'll it's coming up.
If the Kuminga situation was to drag into July, how concerning is that for you from just building out the roster?
Yeah, I mean, look, I think for both sides, we'd like to get something figured out as soon as possible, but that's the way it goes. I think sometimes there's restricted free agency, so not going to stress out about it too much. But I think the main thing is making the right decisions, figuring the whole thing out, whether that's day 1 or day 10 or whatever it is. So got to be prepared to take it as far as it goes. But yeah, the priority I would think for both sides is to get something done early.
How much is his desire to come back or not to come back going to play into beyond just the negotiations, money and years wise, just his desire to be here?
Well, yeah, it's important. I mean, I think from his end, ultimately he's the one as a free agent that has to sign the contract. So by him doing that, if that happens with us, that's reflective, I think, of his desire to be here. And we'll see, as they say.
Like you said, the 2 picks, you sort of indicated that they have maybe an outside chance to play as rookies. What's it like to draft, though, knowing that you're not going to draft guys that you have to worry about plugging in immediately, as opposed to teams that are drafting hoping to get someone who can give them something right away?
Yeah, I mean, I think we're at a little bit different space than some of these other teams, younger teams that are looking to just put guys out in the court. We don't have to do that, and in some ways it's good. It's less pressure on these players to come out and have to perform right away at the NBA level. It's an adjustment for all these guys, so to give them some time to adjust if it's needed, whether that's in Santa Cruz or minutes later in the season in the NBA, like to allow for that, which we've done with some of these guys in the past, has really helped, and we'll probably look at that path again.
And what does it mean for the significance of the free agent market for you guys?
Yeah, I don't think the draft changes much for us there. I mean, we add these guys into the roster however we do it, but I think we'll be looking to make the most, shift our roster the most in free agency more so than the draft. The draft is just tough because it's all unproven, right? And so you don't want to rely too much on that. You turn to free agency trades of known commodities in the NBA to make our team better for next year. Awesome. Thanks, guys. Appreciate it.